for joining Hawaii Wellness Network. We are coming to you live from the Love, Peace, Harmony Center. And today we have Justin from Creative Healing, correct? And you're going to talk a little bit, I've heard some terms and you're going to go into a little bit of a definition so people will know. But you practice NET and Osteopathic Manipulation. Did I get that correct? Okay. Would you like to explain a little bit about how you got started and the benefits?
Sure. I've been into alternative healthcare since the early 90s, and I became a professional nurse in 2002 and then a nurse practitioner in 2009. I've integrated a lot of things to this new business I've started here, and the primary modalities I like to do are the neuro-emotional technique. NET is a fascinating modality that allows you to go into the body and through acupressure points find the exact emotional roots to kind of problems, either behavioral problems, emotional problems, or sometimes even physical problems. And the real beauty of NET is that you can cross-check and get very specific information and see if you're on the right track or on the wrong track, and then confirm it. And then when you find an actual issue, you can find that first age that it started and then clear it out on the spot, and then check to see if it was cleared out. So it's very accurate and easy. And you don't have to get into a whole lot of talking with it. I do ask questions, but you're not going to have to cry or go to your childhood or do a lot of psychotherapy or anything like that.
Well, crying sometimes
right.
is good. But
yeah, it's relatively painless.
Because a lot of people set goals, like I'm going to go to the gym, here we are in January 2014, a New Year's resolution. But sometimes if they have old patterns that are in their subconscious and they're just, every year they're trying to lose weight or trying to keep these habits. So would that help with finding out what the blockages are and why they're not reaching their goals?
Absolutely, and again, the beauty is we can check to see is there an emotional complex behind the problem and then clear it. And if not, I can say, okay, well this modality isn't appropriate for your problem, and you can refer you to somebody else or try something different.
Does that happen very often, that you can't go in and find some subconscious?
Well, usually if it's a very complicated problem, we can usually remove like a facet of it or something. If it's a simple problem, like every time my boss raises his voice, I cringe and kind of can't deal, things are real specific like that, usually work great. If you're having issues like with your father or your parents that are really complicated, we can usually remove aspects of them, and that takes more work. So the more specific and focused the issue, the more radical the change will be, and the more complicated the issue, the more piecemeal it will be.
And a lot of people like to blame their parents for everything. so this will end that, so they can move on.
The methodology was created by chiropractors too, so it does a very good physical component. So if you have old injuries that just aren't healing, we can check those and see is there an emotional component, and if we clear that out, things tend to heal a lot faster that haven't healed up, so that's a good part of it too.
So how do you combine the NET with the osteopathic manipulation? How do those two modalities work together?
I typically do them sequentially. I'll usually start a session with some NET, see what issues are hot, where somebody's at with it, then switch over to the osteopathic work, which is more on the table. Osteopathic work is it's an old profession. It's been around about 100 years. It came out at the same time as chiropractic. It's usually practiced by physicians, but at this stage in history, most physicians can't really afford to practice it because it takes a lot longer than an office visit, and their pay is usually a lot less to do it. So most physicians that are qualified in it aren't really that interested in doing it. But I was able to do a 2-year course as a nurse practitioner, and I've been able to bill insurance in the past and things. So it's a good modality. It covers a big spectrum of the whole body. You can get into organ manipulation, a lot of skull work with like the cranial work, or cranial osteopathy, craniosacral. They all kind of overlap a little bit. The cranial osteopathy is a little bit more direct than craniosacral work. Craniosacral work is typically less than 5 grams of pressure. With osteopathy, we can go a little bit deeper, but it doesn't really feel that difference to receive one versus the other. In the osteopathic continuum, I'd say on the one end, you have the very biomechanical osteopaths who are very detailed and apply patterns to the body and look at everything very closely, and on the other spectrum would be the very intuitive people who kind of put their hands in you and feel through the training and their hands kind of direct them. I'd place myself about like 75% towards the intuitive side of it.
So if someone has like physical symptoms like a migraine, could you help them? Because that might be something from their past that's creating that, or?
Well, migraines can respond to cranial work. Again, there's good things that can have many different roots, but with either modality, I can tell pretty fast whether I'm going to be able to help you with it or not, which is nice.
Do you want to do like a little exercise for a couple minutes and show everybody how it works? Or like if I was meeting you with the first time and I want to lose weight, and so I want to figure out maybe have a consultation, what would be some questions you would ask me?
As far as headaches or let's see. Well, typically with NDT work, I usually use charts, which I don't have with me right now, which help because there's very complicated systems where you go from organ to organ and different parts of the spine. So how that works is we typically well, there's two ways of describing the process to be a little bit easier for me. Like, what's it like to get a session? Maybe one. Yeah.
So if I contacted you to get a session, can you describe a little bit what I would expect when I came in for our consultation?
So it's all pretty painless. There's no disrobing or anything too. Like it's just talking and then maybe working on the table. So for emotional problems, how the NET basically works is there's two ways to start it. You can do declarative statements, like saying you're okay with something, and then I test to see if you're really okay with it or not. And okay just means neutral, not necessarily preferential. And basically there's an element of applied kinesiology or muscle testing involved, and the muscles will change strength depending on whether there's an issue or not. And once I get a weaker muscle response, I can go into cross-checking against meridian points into the body, and then that will make the weak muscle go strong again. And then I can go from there into the specifics that have to do with your money, your job, relationships, you yourself. I get the category down. And then from there we see is there an original time. We go back into the body through muscle testing to see what age it first started, if there's an original root. And then we're able to clear it from there pretty easily. You can clear it either by holding pulse points combined with acupressure points, or I have you hold emotional points and I do taps on the spine in a specific sequence. And it really does discharge it pretty well, but then we come back and double check. So that's kind of how NET works. It's pretty painless. And then with what I'll go from there is have the person lie on the table and also doing a general treatment over the body to see if there's major problems. And then where the tensions are, where the major problems, where there's restrictions in the body. And I clear those through the craniosacral work, cranial osteopathy work, visceral manipulation, and just manipulations throughout the body. There's a lot of techniques in osteopathy. There's 9 main ones, and I kind of mix those depending on what the patient's needs are. So the osteopathic work is generally pretty pleasant. It's not there are thrusts in it, but I don't typically use those in my practice. There's a lot of repositioning, holding the body in certain positions, trigger points and things that will relieve stress. And there's quite a lot to it.
Yeah, but I can imagine this is a huge relief for some people that have the same challenge for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. Like, I'm going to lose weight, or I'm dealing with a migraine, or just, can't get that job promotion, and they're just working hard, or they're going to the gym every day. It's frustrating when you just don't have the answer, and you think you're doing the right thing. So to have some kind of explanation, maybe that subconscious, your body's reacting to something, and be able to relieve that.
And I can address that more in the subtle energy line of it too. I also do energy work, like chakra balancing and things like that, and polarity therapy, and I've had a lot of that training in the past. So depending on where a person's at, I can go into more subtle work with them too, and delve a little deeper into it. But if somebody's not comfortable with that, it can be very much more of a medical kind of interview, where I just kind of stick to the basics. So there's a lot of tools in my tool belt. I can also write prescriptions and things like that. I'm not offering primary care at this point, but I can definitely, if somebody needs a medicine to try or something, I can write scripts too. Not the focus of my practice, but and also ordering labs. I'm working on a wellness packet of different laboratories that'll be really interesting. There's some really comprehensive ways to get all of your minerals and vitamins checked in one shot. And that can go a long way, because it's a lot of guesswork sometimes, and there's so many of them. There's even some new intracellular technologies, so they can look inside the cells for deficiencies as opposed to just your blood, and those are more accurate typically.
So you can order blood tests and things from the lab. That's great. So it's nice that you actually you have a medical background, with the nurse practitioner and also with alternative complementary, so you can put them together.
Yeah, I kind of got more and more credentialing over my life. I've started off doing energy work and flower essences and things like that, and herbs, and then kind of kept wanting to get more credentialing, and I did over time. And then I found the conventional work was interesting, but there's a lot of people doing that already, and kind of bridging both worlds is more where I'm at.
Well, I think that's what people want nowadays, so you can do both and put them together.
Yeah, my practice is really based more on wellness and health enhancement versus finding and fighting pathology.
And you're going to, since it's January 2014, you're going to offer a special?
Right. Any new patient coming in now, I can do a whole hour-long session for just $20. So
Wow.
It takes all the stress off trying it out, because it's a little different, and that's always a big deal. So that's a good deal for anybody since they see what I'm doing.
Okay. And how do they get in touch with you if they
Sure.
want to get some more information?
The best way to find more information is on my website. It's creative-healing.com, little dash in the middle. The phone number is is 808-561-5424. And the office is right at Dayton Kapahulu near Waikiki. It's 619 Kapahulu. There's a big Starbucks right there, and I'm just right next to it. You go upstairs and follow the signs for Kathy Mueller's agency, and I share office space with her.
Great, it's wonderful. So they can come in and get a consultation, whether they need one session or more sessions, and see where everybody's
I
at.
typically recommend 3 to 5 sessions for what I do.
Great. And you'll have packages if they want to do more sessions.
Yeah, and the website has a lot of information on it too.
Great, well thanks for coming in, and you'll also be in the next Y Wellness Directory, so thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming.